I have personally seen Sunnydale's evangelism program have an impact on so many students. And what's exciting to me is that this isn't just an event on the school calendar, that evangelism is Sunnydale Academy.
It was my senior year of high school, my second year in India. We were staying, our hub was the island of Pathar Pratima, and my meetings had been going super well. There was one lady that was kind of your typical distracted attendee. She was always playing on her phone. One day while we were preaching, there started to be a little bit of a drizzle on the tent, and it wasn't rainy season, so people were starting to get a little bit concerned. And so eventually my translator said, okay, we need to stop, otherwise people aren't going to stay. And so he started to announce to everybody, tomorrow come early, we're going to pick up where we left off, when this distracted lady on her phone said, if your God is so powerful, why doesn't he stop the rain? And so I started to pray. And in my head, I started thinking about my morning devotions. I had read about the centurion man and his son, and he was asking God, or Jesus, he was like, Jesus, heal my son. And Jesus said, well, do you believe that I can? He said, I do, but help my unbelief. So I'm praying, God, thank you for this beautiful day that we have everybody here and we're learning about you. And I was so afraid to say the words, God, stop the rain. And in the back of my head, I'm saying, God, help my unbelief, help my unbelief, help my unbelief. And I said, amen. And it felt like probably 30 minutes, but it was really just probably a second and a half where there was still rain, and then just complete silence in the entire field where we were. You couldn't hear it on the tent, you couldn't hear it on the trees by the road, it was just silent. The lady that had challenged God, she was shocked, her eyes were huge, her mouth was wide open, and everybody was looking around, and it was just crazy to think that God is still doing miracles. Some of them are ways that we've seen in the Bible, and some of them are new. And just always trust in him, and remember that it's his reputation and he can take care of his own reputation.
You know, sometimes we wonder the lasting impact of people's decisions to follow Christ there. Sometimes it could be just a popular thing, or maybe they didn't understand that well, the decision they were making. And I understand those thoughts, I've had them. But as I've been in India, I see that so many of them have had to count the cost, way more than any of us here, and that they are very sincere. In my first trip over there, instead of being the leader, I was a speaker. And in my village, there was resistance. My meeting got canceled, as there were a number of people who wanted baptism, but the village leaders put pressure on it and canceled the meeting. It was so disappointing. So we got to the last baptism that would be had on the island. My heart got so excited, because there were two people who were in that village that came for baptism. One was from the village that had all this animosity towards our meetings and towards Christianity. He was in his field that Sabbath morning, and he was convicted he needed to be baptized, and he rode his bicycle 13 kilometers to where the baptism site was, and he was baptized, the one. Well, the next year I got to go back and visit in that village. And instead of that one losing his faith, now there were 7 families because of his stand that were also taking a stand and saying, I'm a Christian, I'm a follower of Jesus. Instead of just losing people, many times it's growing from what God has done when we were first there.